I love my HBCU. And boy, I love it, love it. I love it, love it. I love my HBCU. And man, I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. Yeah, man. I hope my team they won one. I hope my team they won one. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse. But if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. We have the cast of lab listeners following us along with our super guest. I want to say welcome to episode 728 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports for institutions large and small. From the NAIA to the NCAA, we share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture, HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. In short, we just call it HBCU sports pedagogy. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta, along with my co-host, Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. And today we also have Wilton Jackson II, as well as A.D. Drew. We're filming from our home studios. Literally today, I'm back at home, have a little work to do and picking up Deuce as he's preparing for his revisit to homecoming 2025 at Prairie View A&M University. So it should be an interesting weekend as he gets to partake in the RV that we brought to Prairie View beginning back some 20-some years ago. I want to say, sending a signal out of KCWH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer and a beautiful home at Texas Southern University from Houston, Texas. With that being said, let's bring everybody on board as we're doing that. Today's episode of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab is sponsored by THG Agency. THG Agency is a company that provides sporting, educational consulting, and data analytics. That being said, let me get to our co-host, Charles Bishop. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Doc. Getting ready for this back half, I guess, of the season, and everybody should be rested up. So here we go. Fireworks in this last October, November here.
That's right. It's about halfway through in terms of the conference play for most part. We'll see the second half and see what it looks like. We might even get into some grades for the first half on Thursday. With that being said, A.D. Drew, you're on the show quite a bit. So let me say co-host as well.
Oh, wow. You guys in the SWAC are looking at the back half of the season. Us in the CIAA and the SIAC are coming down the home stretch with just 3 games remaining. And gentlemen, I must say this. It is good to see everybody actually in their home studio for a change. In the first show in a while where somebody has not been on the road, or the one show where nobody was in their home studio when we did that one Sunday show. So it's refreshing to see everybody and see you guys' natural background.
Yeah. Yes, it is. It is good. Great comment. Since Mike, does his own thing, Wilton Jackson, maybe we should make you a co-host and pull you up the rank.
I feel like I'm still earning my stripes.
You're a smart man too, because if Mike listening somewhere, he gonna have it out for you, buddy.
Oh, I know. I already know.
He gonna try to put you back online for Kappa. Like, how does that work? Them old school brothers, they be doing some
yeah. Yo,
be like, I don't care who. I'm still take this. Like, hey, bro, I didn't know we got down like that.
Yep.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Doc. Like I said, glad to be here. Glad to be on another show.
kind of like to Charles' point, we're getting into that back half of the season, and I know this is the D2 show for Tuesday, but if you're a MEAC fan, this is the weekend where you want to tune in because we're getting into MEAC action. But to Drew's point, we got a lot of good games. Yes, we got a lot of good games on the back half for CIAA and SIAC in these final 3 weeks. So I'm excited to get into that,
including the CIAA and SIAC championship game before everything goes down. Raymond says, "Yeah, we'll be on campus on Thursday in RV, Charles." So I had an RV look a little bit in terms of what we do doing the show on Thursday. If we can,
I was just getting fussed at by your coach, Doc. I was looking on Instagram. I was like, "Oh, okay, that's a challenge."
Oh yeah, I like that. I like that. I sent him a message. I was like, "Yeah, let them know." He's 4-0 and y'all sitting up there. RV sold out. He say Dallas, stay fair class, lines. He said, "Where the lines? There ain't no lines. I need some lines." I say, "All right, call them out." I bet they be in them lines on Friday.
Yeah, I like that.
No doubt. I agree with you. I love it. With that being said, it is our mid-major show. So we'll get in here and give you some updates of what took place in terms of the landscape. So let's go ahead and bring that.
Got the bros out today.
Yeah, they out. Doc he started it. He started it.
Oh
man, boy. Oh man, too much red, too much white, and plain. I'm not gonna do that. I don't want to hear about all that. No, it's just too much. So, what were some of the big outcomes in terms of the score? I know in the second segment we'll break down the top 7 scores, but just in general as we get into it, at the mid-major level, what stood out to you?
Obviously, Benedict, big win over Edward Waters. I think that was the one that jumped out at me in terms of what they were able to do. Still undefeated, so that's huge.
Yeah, I agree. Let me go to you, Wilton. What stood out to you this week in terms of the big matchup? Obviously, at the big game, and we'll get into detail on that. But as we open things up, what was on your mind in terms of the mid-major level?
I was definitely looking at that win with Winston-Salem State over Livingstone. I know we had Livingstone in the top 5 for a couple of weeks, and we were kind of basically deciding, or we were trying to navigate and see, like, was this going to be a team? You did. I thought about you, Drew. Drew said that Livingstone probably wouldn't be amongst the top 7 as we got into the latter part of the season, but obviously Winston-Salem had a hell of a performance, an absolute beat down of Livingstone over the weekend. So I was glad to see that to check into that game.
Good points. Let me go to you, AD Drew. What's on your mind?
Albany State Tuskegee. Not the fact that Albany State scored, but as Sneaker Shop Talk says, I didn't see there only being 10 points scored in that entire ball game.
Yeah.
For those who don't know the backstory behind that, Tuskegee had multiple opportunities to score, was unable to capitalize and score. Albany State, Isaiah Knowles did not play QB1. QB2 got hurt during the game. So they were actually on QB3 played during that game. Henceforth, probably the reason for the lack of offensive production in that game. Once again, not the fact that Albany State won, but once again, this is why I don't play the lottery. I don't play bingo, because that was nowhere on my bingo card would I have taken the under, because that was a game that I thought Albany State would cover it over by themselves.
Yeah, I think you make excellent points when you talk about that. And it just lets you know the talent that Albany State has been able to put together, to be able to go down to their third string quarterback and fight through a game and still get the victory, which puts them in good place. When you think about it like that, it puts a lot more perspective if you're not just scoreboard watching this, trying to figure out what happened and thinking, great fight for the Golden Tigers, which for their perspective was, but they're used to winning, so it's a little different when you are putting it in that perspective. With that being said, as you're kind of looking for things to come, don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, and we're looking at big matchups. How are you feeling about the SIAC race? And then we'll also talk about it from a CIAA CIAA perspective. Let me go with you, Drew. At the midway point, how are you kind of looking at the SIAC race? What are your biggest surprise? And then what is your worst indication on the other side of your surprise?
The biggest surprise outside of what most people would say that's happening on my own campus, I'm not surprised by what's happening on my own campus.
For sure.
But a lot of people were surprised by what's happening on my own campus. But how about what's happening down in Jacksonville, Florida? No one also did not expect Edward Waters to be in the position that they are in, and with the fact that Morehouse and Edward Waters are fighting for the fourth position, which will lead to an all-important crossover game with the Conference Carolinas. And looking at Edward Waters' schedule, we'll hold that. I don't want to get too deep on it right now. Also, Kentucky State. Those are probably your
three very good ones.
And one more. Although we expected Clark Atlanta to regress somewhat, I don't think anyone expected Clark Atlanta to regress to this step, especially with Zion McDonald coming into the season as your QB1.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. Great call. Didn't leave meat on the bone for y'all. Nope. Let you go with the CIAA, and as you're doing that, you can give your superlatives as well.
When you look at the CIAA, you have, of course, Virginia Union, Fayetteville State still near the top. I think for me, we've learned that Johnson C. Smith is pretty much on the road. They've learned how to close out and win games going forward, at least up until this point. This was a very similar seat of where they were last year before some things happened at the back half of the final couple of weeks of the season. So I'm sure, Coach Flowers is definitely, dialing into his guys to make sure they stay on one accord over these next couple of weeks. But it gets interesting when you start talking about, Virginia, some of the other teams after that, like Virginia State, Bluefield State, Winston-Salem State just knocking off Livingstone, who had been in the top 7 over the last couple of weeks. So it's kind of just really, in my opinion, Virginia Union, which we expected to be there, Fayetteville State and Johnson C. Smith. I think for me, going down the stretch, it's like, is this going to be the year that Johnson C. Smith takes the next step?
Good. Go ahead and give your CIAA superlatives. Players of the week.
Okay. The CIAA players of the week, we're going to start with quarterback Kelvin Durham from Johnson C. Smith. In a commanding 52-0 shutout, Durham showcased his all-around talent and leadership under center. He completed 15 of 29 passes for 281 yards and 3 touchdowns. Offensive, in terms of offensive player, another offensive player, Micah Robinson from Bowie State. Robinson delivered a career performance in Bowie State's 42-37 victory against Bluefield State, powering the Bulldog offense from start to finish. The sophomore running back carried the ball 31 times for 193 yards and 4 touchdowns, averaging an impressive 6.2 yards per carry. His fourth score late in the third quarter sealed the victory and capped Bowie State's highest offensive output of the season. Wide receiver got some attention this week is DeAndre Proctor. Proctor turned into a big performance in Virginia State's 52-0 win against Shaw, showcasing his ability to stretch the field and make key plays. An offensive lineman that had a strong performance is Savion Moore from Virginia Union. Moore anchored a strong Virginia Union offensive line that paved the way for 555 total yards of offense in a 66-21 homecoming victory against Lincoln, PA. The Panthers used a balanced attack and produced 300 passing yards and 255 yards on the ground. As far as on defense, defensive lineman Kevin Haynes Jr. from Johnson C. Smith. Haynes delivered a disruptive performance in Virginia State's 52-0 shutout against Shaw. He recorded 5 total tackles, 4 tackles for loss, totaling for 37 yards, and 2 sacks for 31 yards. As far as the linebackers, Daniel Williams from Winston-Salem State. You're talking about a guy who recorded 11 tackles, 5 solo, and 6 assisted, consistently closing gaps and making key stops. His best play came on a crucial sack for a 6-yard loss, helping the Rams maintain defensive control throughout the game. Another defensive player from Virginia State, Mark Burns. Burns delivered an impressive all-around effort in Virginia State's 24-20 win against Elizabeth City State. And in terms of special teams, Lucas Smolin from Johnson C. Smith essentially had a strong game in special teams in Johnson C. Smith's win over Shaw. He had recorded 9 kickoffs for 569 yards and 7 touchbacks, including punting the ball 3 times for 111 yards, including 1 inside the 20.
I love the fact that the CIAA gives out all those awards for those student athletes, but it does not make for a good podcast portion because we have to go through the CIAA Players of the Week.
About 37 of them.
I agree with you. Shout out to Eric Sanders. He said he still believes Johnson C. Smith will win the CIAA, but you got to be imagining they're making the championship game. Probably could see that. And you would likely mean that they would get a little revenge, meaning they probably have to defeat Virginia Union in that championship game. But it'll be interesting, a little more to see how it shakes out, but that's where it's leaning. Charles, can you give superlatives, players of the week for the SIAC before we take our first break?
Yeah, the Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference announces football players of the week for October 21st as they honor John Terrius Thomas from Edward Waters, Darnell Stevens from Fort Valley State, Dante Curry from Fort Valley State, and Keanu Campbell Caldwell were all recognized. So let's take a look at the offensive player of the week. John Terrius Thomas from Edward Waters. He shattered Edward Waters' football single-game rushing record in a heartbreaking 31-27 loss to Benedict. He rushed for 243 yards on 21 carries with 1 touchdown, averaging 10.8 yards per carry. Thomas broke loose for multiple 50-yard rushes and added 1 catch for 5 yards. Defensive player of the week is Darnell Stevens from Fort Valley State, the graduate from Conyers, Georgia, cornerback. Stevens was pivotal in the Wildcats shutout of Savannah State. He anchored the secondary with 3 interceptions returned for 11 yards, as well as adding 3 pass breakups and 2 total tackles. Special teams player of the week was Dante Curry, also from Fort Valley State. Curry had a stellar game in the punt return area. He scored the lone touchdown for the Wildcats in their 7-0 in on a 76-yard punt return for a touchdown. Curry recorded 132 punt return yards on 8 attempts. And then the newcomer of the week was Keanu Campbell Caldwell from Central State, the quarterback from Long Beach. He threw for 304 yards on 14 to 27 passes, including 2 touchdowns against Kentucky Christian. So those are your SIAC players of the week.
Good update, great update, great dialogue going on in the chat in terms of mid-major division. Shout out Emmett Jones talking about SIAC hell of a race. Kentucky State bigger surprise. I agree with a lot of that. Emmett Jones, Edward Waters hit a wall, unfortunately, like Livingstone last year, it appears. Bearing the lead story. Yep. I don't understand Teddy Keaton and Clark. He's regressing every year. Interesting. Every year?
It's only been there 2 years.
That's what I'm saying. He just was in the championship game last year, but I think he meant this year for sure. Said Walker, did you hear the actual statement from UAB? Laugh aloud. Them people sad coaching. Talking about Jackson. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, you know how they talk. I still believe Johnson C. Smith will win the CIAA. Talked a little bit about that. Maurice Flowers can just make the CIAA championship game, and they deserve a SWAC or MEAC job like at Morgan State or Southern. Interesting. Normal former Fort Valley State quarterback. Good talk as they start to talk about these coaches and where they look. Virginia Union's coach out there, he just was on the edge, couldn't quite get a call. He certainly has shown his.
Yeah. He'll get some
Dr. Parker. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. Parker, Dr. Alvin Parker. Yeah. As we like to say around these places. I must admit, chat and panel, Division II is playing a wonderful brand of football this season. The teams have been giving the wow factor this season. I agree. Let's take our first break and come back on the other side. We'll get in those top 7. We'll see if we find Mike somewhere, if he's ready to go or not. If not, we'll keep pushing forward because, Mike might be anywhere in the world at this point. We'll be right back after this first break.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavil of Dr. Cavil's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. As we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a state, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU story with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU.
College football fans, the Cricket Celebration Bowl is celebrating 10 years of crowning an HBCU national champion. A champion will rise at Mercedes-Benz Stadium on December 13th as the MEAC and SWAC champions clash in Atlanta. Join us for championship football, interactive fan experiences, and iconic marching bands. It's an HBCU family reunion that you don't want to miss. See who will be crowned the next HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Hello, my name is Blake Davis, and I'm a defensive back, and I'm a proud member of the Grambling State University Tigers football program. When me and my team are visiting Las Vegas for the HBCU Las Vegas Classic, we are led to dine at Chick-fil-A located at 9830 West Flamingo Road. I encourage you to do the same for a great food and a fantastic dining experience. The owner and operator, Ron Peterson, a Prairie View A&M University graduate, will be excited to have you as a guest. Go Tigers, go SWAC, and eat more chicken.
Yeah. I love my HBCU. Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. I told you Mike might be moving around trying to figure out what's going on. But let's get in these top 7 scores of last week. We had a top 7 matchup with Benedict Tigers and the Edward Water Tigers, I should say, which was 1 versus 6, battle of the Tiger Cats, battle of the Cats, as a lot of people like to say. Benedict Tigers continue to stun everybody as they get out of it, 31-27. They continue to prove on their record as they win that game going away. Pushing forward with their season, staying undefeated, and looking like they're doing it big time. Let's get into number 2 as we continue to move through this to see some scores here. That is the Golden Rams. Talk a little bit about this score here. With the Rams defeating Tuskegee Golden Tigers 7-3. The Rams improved 6-1, 5-0, while the Tigers fall to 2-3, 1-2. Terms of the conference race as they continue to move through it. Number 3, though, is the Virginia Union Panthers. Some people think they should be higher than this, but we have them at number 3 as we released things last weekend. They're 5-1, 3-0, 66-21. They run through it and get it done in terms of what they were doing this past weekend with Lincoln. Lions having a challenging season thus far, but continue to fight through it. Looking at number 4, solid teams in terms of what they're getting done. Man, the Bears got beat up in terms of Shaw Bears, 52-0. John C. Smith, 6-1, 3-1, continue to roll as the Bears fall to 2-3, 1-2 on the season. Moving on to number 5, non-conference matchup. Kind of oddity at this time of the year. When you have Kentucky State beating William as they have a winning the game on a field goal at the end, 17-14. A really impressive win in terms of going on the road and getting that, as it puts them in a position if they can't make the championship game. Still with the crossover that Drew talked about, it puts them in a position to see if they can get a bid to the playoffs if they keep rolling, which would be when you think about where they started this season. Moving on to number 6 in terms of that, you had a team that didn't play this weekend as well as number 7. So in terms of those scores, as you've seen for the top 7 teams, with Mike being able to jump in here, I want to kind of get your thoughts, starting with you, Charles. It seems like things are selling out. We pretty much know that top 4, maybe top 5, really solid. Not a lot of changes there. You still can have some movement, maybe with 5, 6, and 7, if you would. Give me your thoughts in terms of the scores and just where we are, pretty much midway through the conference play at this point.
Yeah, I think we kind of alluded to it a little bit, especially with that Albany State Tuskegee score. Like, we just wasn't expecting 10 total points in that particular game, a defensive slugfest. The Kentucky State score kind of surprised me. I did not think that they would have to fight it out, if you will, to get a last-second field goal over Kentucky Christian, a team that hadn't won a football game. So that was a little bit surprising to me. But everything else kind of held close to form.
That was actually Franklin Pierce that Kentucky State
Franklin
played.
Pierce,
Central State played Kentucky Christian.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Let me go to you, Wilton. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 scores there?
Everything pretty much kind of played out to what I expected. I mean, the teams that we know that have been the top teams throughout the last couple of weeks, like, Benedict, Virginia Union, Albany State, and Drew, we were all talking about it before the show started about like they were obviously without their starting quarterback, and then the second string quarterback gets hurt, but still find a way to win a game, and that's what matters at this time of the year. Like, you don't necessarily play your best ball, but you find a way to continue to win games, and you stay within your placement and keep your dreams alive of competing for a championship. So, in my opinion, I think everything is pretty much where we thought it would be for the most part.
I'm agreeing with you. Maybe a little surprised as we served from Kentucky State, but outside of that, I agree with those major teams. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Let me go to you, Mike, since you joined us. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 scores this week?
Man, first of all, what's going on? How y'all doing? Y'all all right?
Yeah, we all right. All right. We looking at the chairs now. Wilton said he liked the chair that he's sitting in. So,
he liked the chair. All right, man. You lucky I'm just getting in this show.
Anyway. Sorry about that, Wilton. I had to warm him up. I had to make
I already know.
So no, the one that surprised me. Oh, Benny, I think I put something in the chat. I was like, AKD, what's up? 7-3? 7-3? What happened? What's going on?
Third string quarterback for Albany.
And here's the deal. I watched some of that game. Tuskegee still had a chance to win. Well, with 2-3 minutes, Tuskegee messed that up. They had a chance to win. And I was like, what had happened? All this talk about Albany, needless to say, they still number 2. We go week to week. I know, Doc. Don't tell me no more. Don't tell me no more. I got it. We go week to week. 7-3.
I'm glad you figured it out.
I finally discovered that true serum, that juice. So other than that, I think okay. Kentucky. I heard you talking about Kentucky State. Yeah, the one for me was Albany State and Tuskegee.
He said Kentucky State. Yeah. Drew, what are your thoughts in terms of the top 7 scores?
The fact that the teams who you expected to win all actually won in the top 7 last week. Obviously the Edward Waters Benedict game, you could have kind of flipped the coin on that one, but everywhere else, everybody won. This is usually that time of the year where somebody tends to slip up. and people are holding serve. And
You're right.
I don't appreciate y'all two talking to each other, Mike and Charles, about the show before the show. I mean, Mike and Doc before the show, with both of y'all with y'all blue shirt and y'all white hats on. I mean, I don't. I know y'all. I know, Mike. I know you pledged Cavil.
You know where
but come on now, man. It's been 30 years. You got to let them go, man.
I pledge you. And if I tell him to be on point with that dress, he go. I don't care how old he is.
Man, I think Big Mike is ready for homecoming.
He the boss on this show, but man, when it comes to dress,
he getting fired up. Yeah, he ready for homecoming, man.
It's homecoming week. You see this right here? It's been all up in the corporate office.
I bet you it has been. Giving a little love blue for the CIAA. It's mid-major day. You know, I'm just setting it out, Drew.
I got you.
With that being said, let's take last break. We'll come back on the other side and get in this top sevens. Not a lot of changes here, but I want to see your thoughts to see what that looks like. Are your concerns in terms of how things are settling out? With that being said, stick with us. We'll be right back after this break, and we'll break it down in terms of week number 7's top 7.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Planning an event? From weddings to corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC brings over 15 years of experience to make your vision a reality. Based in Metro Atlanta and serving statewide, even internationally, we provide versatile event planning and authentic catering cuisines tailored to your needs. Whether it's pre-game meals for student athletes, fundraisers, weddings, corporate functions, CMJ Events LLC is your one-stop solution for exceptional service and unforgettable food. Our diverse culinary heritage means we cater to all cultural tastes, dietary needs, and food restrictions, making every meal uniquely yours. Let's make your next event unforgettable. Visit us on all social media at CMJ Events LLC or email us at cmjeventsllc@gmail.com. Also give us a call at 404-664-3882 so that we can start planning now.
College football fans, a champion will rise in Atlanta on December 13th. MEAC champion, SWAC champion, the 10th Cricket Celebration Bowl, crowning an HBCU national champion. For event and ticket information, visit thecelebrationbowl.com.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties. Through its programs, Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and parenting education coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentJAX.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year. Returning to Atlanta on December 12th, 4 bands will qualify for the big stage, where 2 national champions will be crowned. Follow us for rankings updates throughout the season, and join us on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
Hello, my name is Jacoby Morgan, a quarterback, and I'm a proud member of the Jackson State University Tigers football team. When I and my team are visiting Las Vegas, Nevada for the HBCU Las Vegas Classic, we would love to dine at Chick-fil-A located at 9830 West Flamingo Road. I encourage you to do the same for great food and fantastic dining experience. The owner and operator, Ron Peterson, a graduate of Prairie View A&M University, will be excited to have you as a guest. Go Tigers, go SWAC, and eat more chicken.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Witt with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, Wilton Jackson II, A.D. Drew. let's get into week number 7. 10/21 is the week it is. 2025 top 7 mid-major HBCU Division football poll rankings. Let's see how we get it done. Let's look at if anybody dropped out. No one dropped out. Kind of dropped that on you a little bit as we got into the segment. But let's look at those on the outside looking in, see if that's changed up in terms of those receiving votes. As we think about what that looks like, you have a little bit of a change. As Morehouse Maroon Tigers, they're pretty hot right now.
Look at Drew.
Jump in.
Hey.
Look at Drew.
Virginia State Trojans.
Wait,
the south side at 4 and 3, 2 and 2.
Hold up.
He got a screenshot it.
4, 3, 3, and 2. I'm gonna let Drew do his things. He said he want to get this on record. Morehouse Maroon Tigers 3 and 4, 3 and 2, winning 3 straight.
Well, yeah, Steve.
Right
I don't see you on here.
Let's not get so. Let's not be premature.
Hey, Hey, I don't know when Dr. Cavil, when the last time Morehouse appeared in your poll?
They receiving votes. We didn't say nothing about it in the poll.
It's been a while.
Hey, this is closest we. Hey,
it goes back.
Get when
Maybe Doug Williams thing. I'm gonna take you back. How long I've been doing this? You remember when Doug Williams was coaching Morehouse?
Yep.
In other words, when Deion Warwick last had a hit was solid gold.
Y'all remember when Doug Williams was coaching the Morehouse Maroon Tigers?
Yeah.
That's probably about the last time. To your point there. That being said, let's get into number 7. Let's get in this top 7. See what it looks like, gentlemen.
Okay.
At number 7, we have the Edgewater Tigers. They slipped a little bit, 4 and 2, 146 points. You shouldn't have any first place votes there. But they're in the mix in terms of dropping from number 6, but they stay in the top 7. They have a tough matchup this week, so it'll be interesting to see what that looks like as they continue to try to push forward with a solid season. Let's go into number 6. At number 6, you have none other than Fayetteville State Broncos. Everybody said, watch out for the Broncos. They're back in business, 4 and 3. They've won 4 straight conference games. They moved up 1 spot. Previous ranked 646 points. They continue to do what they do. It'll be interesting to see how they close out the season because they are certainly in the race, battling between Virginia Union and Johnson C. Smith. Some key matchups. We'll see what that looks like. But let's keep going as we move to number 5. When we look at it in terms of number 5, we have Kentucky State Thoroughbreds, 6 and 2, 5 and 1. I'm not sure if Mike is a believer, but there's enough other folks out there that I think are starting to believe in the Thoroughbreds. They certainly have a solid season. They were ranked number 5, but they stay right as they continue to get it done. Moving on up the ladder to number 4. Where are we with number 4? At number 4, you have none other than the Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls. They sit at 6 and 1, 3 and 1. Do have 1 first place vote. Somebody thinks about them really highly. 188 points, but they remain at number 4 because the top teams continue to win and stick it out. So we'll see what that looks like with the top 3. Any changes there? Let's go into number 3 to see, starting things off to see what that looks like. At number 3, Virginia Union Panthers, they stay right there in the 3rd spot, 6 and 1, 4 and 0, 2 first place votes, 191 points, as they have really had a solid season. They had that 1 hiccup with Edward Waters, but they bounced back really well. They're in the mix, which means it's time to unveil number 2. At number 2, you have Albany State Golden Rams, 6 and 1, 5 and 0, 2 first place votes, 203 points. Remain at number 2. This is the 2nd consecutive week they jump up to number 2 2 weeks ago, but they stay there even though they had a tough race against the Golden Tigers. Kind of talked about why that is, but voters still believe in Albany State. With number 1 is the team that just continues to do what they are doing, which is none other than the Benedict Tigers. undefeated, lone undefeated team, 7-0, 6-0, 3 first place votes, 25 points. Week 7, 4th straight week. Once they enter number 1, they will not let it go. People thought it would probably be a quick cycle. People question should they beat number 1. I think that's out the window. People pretty comfortable with that. We're going to jump a little ahead of themselves. We'll just talk about the top 7. But boy, do we have a big matchup coming this week. We'll talk about that in the last segment, obviously, to really get down to it. But at this point, let's go to you, Mike. What are your thoughts in terms of the top 7? Are you on board, or do you see some needed changes?
So I'm gonna go on record, and can you put the final top 7 up? I can see. So you have Kentucky State. I will step back, and Big Mike will eat his words and say, I don't know if I have an issue with this just yet. Kentucky State is one that I have questioned to this point. But if you look at their pedigree, they have solid wins against Morehouse, Miles, and Edward Waters. So I gotta say, Kentucky State has come to play football this year. I think a lot will get settled in the next couple of weeks. Other than that, Doc, I can't say that I have anything wrong with this poll.
I appreciate that, Mike. Especially with homecoming week. We starting out in good shape. Wilton Jackson the second.
Well, that's because you got to bring half the stuff, so I got to make sure you feel your. I'm gonna be nice this week.
Mike's smart man, ain't he, Wilton?
He is very smart man.
With that being said, Wilton, what are your thoughts on the top 7 configuration and all?
Doc, I think this poll is very solid. Obviously, Benedict has shown us each week over the last several weeks that they're the number 1 team, and they are the number 1 team. Big matchup that you kind of already teased, and we'll talk about it in the last segment. But definitely could be a change in number 1 next week, depending on how that outcome plays out.
Point well taken.
It could be a change, but I'm good with Albany State. Good with really all the top 7. There are a couple of things I wanted to point out, specifically in this mix between 4, 5, and 6, and just when you start talking about like scheduling. So, and Mike kind of alluded to it with Kentucky State. If you look at their schedule, they've won some games, and then here's the thing: on the back end, they have a really, really, really favorable schedule. They have Lane and Clark Atlanta left on their schedule. And so, granted, we don't necessarily we know where Clark Atlanta is right now, but that game still could be a competitive game toward the end of the season. But if I'm Kentucky State, that's a very favorable schedule to end a season where most of us didn't think that they were going to probably be this good. This was a team that we found as a shock to be where they are. Now, the teams that kind of concern me, that just their schedules are a little bit tougher. You look at Fayetteville State. Outside of like the fact that they have to play Shaw next, but they still got Johnson C. Smith and Winston-Salem State on their schedule. And then when you look at Johnson C. Smith, again, I kind of said this in the very beginning. They were in this same very similar position last year, and they also still have Winston-Salem State, Fayetteville State, and Livingstone again on the back end of this schedule.
Ooh, great job of breaking down and looking forward in terms of 2 teams with them playing each other. So you're going to get a top 7 matchup pretty much when they play each other. So that's going to be fascinating. Yep. With that being said, let me go to you, Charles. What are your thoughts?
I think the top 6, I should say, are right in line. My only question is, who's the better 4-3 team, Edward Waters or Virginia State? That's the one that I'm kind of wavering on. I mean, Edward Waters, they've lost 2 straight. Virginia State, they've won 2 straight. Virginia State's, I don't know.
I would say Edward Waters has the better win, obviously, with the win over Virginia Union. It was at home, but they played a tougher schedule at this point. And I think they, have the 2 straight losses, which is affecting them. But as Wilton just talked about, Fayetteville State has a chance to prove that they are the better team, and maybe could argue that they would have better wins if they run table, if you would. But I see what you're saying. I think there is a question, and I think it's a moment in time, and it's an uncharted picture. So I think you bring up an excellent question in terms of looking at that when you start facing that mirror. And as we talk about some of these projections, we will introduce with Kyle Mosley that is getting into some analytics. Next week, we'll introduce it at the major division level, and we plan before the end of the season to do it at the mid-major level where he does some predictive analytics. So it'll be interesting to take that information, poll rankings, and some other ones that are out there and see how that plays out. So great information there, Charles, and well, way to give Kyle Mosley a plug. So let him know I gave him a little shout out there. With that being said, 80 Drew, top 7, where are you in terms of this list?
I think you're on mute.
You're on mute. I'm kind of glad you're on mute because I saw you kind of frown up there a little bit. So I don't know what was going to come out. Got a chance
like he had a little attitude. You all right?
Nah. Look, Morehouse is on the screen. I can't have that. Speaking of Morehouse, Mike, you said something I never thought I would hear come out of your mouth. And you said a convincing win against Morehouse. You know, since when have we looked at teams in the top 7 and said that their win against Morehouse was a quality win at this point of the season? So I appreciate those words coming out of your mouth, Mike. Despite that we was on the wrong end of
feel good. I just want to make you feel good. They're on a 3-game winning streak.
Hey, and we're looking for the first 4-game winning streak since 2011. So
that's all right. They don't won the last 3 games. So I'm like, yeah, all right. They got a convincing win, I guess.
Yeah. So, but get back to this top 7. 1 through 5, you know, you're splitting hairs right now between 1 through 5 on where you want to be, especially. And I'm gonna say this: with this being a week-to-week poll, especially between 1 and 3, I don't know if number 2 should be number 2 after a 7-3 win against a team that is not sniffing the top 7.
No. So week to week.
Exactly. Week to week, 7-3 looks bad compared to what Benedict beat a top 7 team and Virginia Union blowing somebody out. And if you look at it, Mike,
I knew it was coming.
Were the 2 teams that are in the standings, what Lincoln or PA is in the standings compared to Virginia Union, and what Tuskegee is in the standings compared to Albany State.
I'm gonna go back to my old ways.
You know, I think Virginia Union should be possibly in that number 2 spot. Can't argue with them being number 1 because Benedict did play a higher quality opponent, but you know that some have made the case for Union being number 1. Johnson C right there, a bull in waiting. And Kentucky State, same thing. They're on a bye this week. They've got 2 winnable games to close out the season. And with Benedict and Albany State going heads up against each other, you know, Kentucky State's gonna slide up and challenge one of those 2 teams with ever who loses that particular matchup. And Dr. Cavil, you mentioned analytics. Also working on, I've been working on this analytics.
Yeah, I like the one you're doing. That 100 yards. Yep.
Yeah, and I'm just going to, we've got this stat called points per 100, which kind of tracks the teams and their production. I'm just going to give you the top 5 teams in this statistical category. And see, number 5, Fayetteville State is 65.7. Number 4, Virginia Union, 91.3. Johnson C. Smith, number 3, 93.6. Benedict, number 2, 96.1. And number 1, Albany State at 109.8. We'll have to take a show, Dr. Cavil, but I can actually explain what those numbers mean. But it's just a measure that I came up with to measure production for the teams offensively and defensively.
It's a volume too. It's a volume.
So he's saying essentially, for 100 yards, how much do you score? So those top 5 are the top teams every 100 yards they score more than other teams. So pretty interesting predictive just to see how good a team is. Go ahead, Mike.
I do have a question. I know that everybody on here is probably more knowledgeable of D2, but we've bought up Kentucky State and Fayetteville State. If both those teams went out and you know their schedules, who do we say is the better team based on strength of schedule? Now look at stats, but who do we say is the better team out of those two if they both went out?
Fayetteville State.
Fayetteville State, yeah. I go with Fayettille State.
That means they would have a win over Johnson C. Smith
and Virginia Union at that point. Right. Whereas Kentucky State has a loss to Albany State.
Yep. Yeah. I agree.
Quality wins, yes.
Good points. Good points. It'd be interesting to see who Kentucky State will line up in that cross matchup at the end of the season, because you sneak that in there. That might give them a little bump, but I would hesitate and have to say Fayetteville State. Great question, Mike. I thought I was going to be able to hold you off and say that wouldn't give you a chance to look back at the poll because we're up against the break, but you found a way to sneak it in. Good job. Let's take our last break, come back on the other side, talk about some key matchups before we let these gentlemen have the rest of their evening.
Hello, my name is Trevon Jones, a tight end at Prairie View A&M University Panthers football team. When me and my family and teammates are out in Las Vegas, we like to dine at Chick-fil-A, located on 9830 West Flamingo Road. I encourage you to do the same, and for good food and a fantastic dining experience. The owner and operator, Ron Peterson, is a graduate of Prairie View A&M and will be excited to see you as a guest. Go Panthers, go SWAC. Hey, Emo Chicken.
Yeah. I love my HBCU.
ESPN Events presents Red Lobster Band of the Year, a title reserved for elite HBCU marching bands. A season-long competition that culminates in Atlanta on Friday, December 12th. Drum majors, percussion, drill, auxiliaries, musicality. All aspects will be examined by the toughest judges in the world of college bands. 4 will qualify for the big stage, where national champions will be crowned. Follow us on social media for rankings updates throughout the season. And join us in Atlanta on December 12th. For event and ticket information, visit bandoftheyear.com.
For over 30 years, HBCU Image has been more than just an apparel store. We've been a movement, a statement, a legacy. We celebrate the pride, the purpose, and the culture that make historically black colleges and universities legendary. Whether you're a student or a lifelong supporter, our gear lets you wear your HBCU stories with confidence and style. Because when you wear HBCU Image, you're not just wearing clothes. You're wearing culture. You're wearing pride. You're wearing purpose. HBCU Image, a Kenny T's company.
Compress the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna love and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, AD Drew.
I got to give it to Greg Peterson.
Yeah.
You got brothers in suits, talking about chicken, Las Vegas, dressed up sharp. When have you got dressed up eating Chick-fil-A in Las Vegas? You ain't not talking.
Only Mike to bring it up.
Hey, please.
Good job, Mike. Way to give him an extra plug, too. Way to give him an extra plug, too. Let's look at this key mid-major division matchups, week 7, top 7. We're gonna start with the biggest one out there first. Let's not wait. This is a number 1 versus number 2 matchup. It doesn't get bigger than that. We've had this on the major division. Now we get it on the mid-major division. Obviously, it's a conference game. In this case, both teams are at the top of the standings. We'll see how this flows out, depending on what that looks like. We could have a rematch, regardless, which is a little different than what we see in the SWAC because of the divisions. But you have number 2, Albany State Golden Rams, 6-1, 5-0 in the conference race. At number 1, Benedict Tigers, 6-0, 7-0, 6-0 in the conference race. After having a top 7 victory last week, they get a chance to prove it again. Put that number 1 ranking on the line. This time it's against number 2. But you talking about back-to-back showdowns. Fascinating. But this is the big one. Let me see who gets the pleasure of leading us off. Drew, you're out of the SIAC, so I'm going to let you give the pleasure to start us off to break down this matchup.
Comes down to one thing for me. Who's in the gun for Albany State?
There it is.
That is
Isaiah,
right
if
there.
Isaiah Knowles is playing, Albany State has a good shot of winning this game. Albany State definitely, if Knowles is anywhere close to 100%, can put up the points that can put this number one rated defense in the SIAC on its toes. If Isaiah Knowles does not play in this game, it could be Benedict by a lot. It's that simple. And one last thing before I pass the mic, because I definitely want to leave some meat on the bone for this one. This game is a 2:00 kickoff on ESPN Plus. Please tune into this game. Once again, 2:00 Eastern on ESPN Plus.
I'll be cheat coding watching this in the suite with the sweet life. Charles?
I think AD, he hit it on the head in terms of the health of Albany State's quarterback. I mean, I think that's the thing that you really take a look at it. And if he's not able to go, you really have to rely on Tion Weiss as well as I want to make sure I pronounce his name correctly, but Ajanad Thomas for Albany State. Both of them are in the top 5 in rushing in the SIAC. If you don't have a healthy quarterback, you do have to rely on the running game, and I think Benedict has done a great job this season in terms of stopping the rush. So, those are two things that I really take a look at with this game, but I'll go with Benedict at the house.
Oh, wow. Nice call. Wilton Jackson, the second. What about you?
I think I'll probably echo everything they've already said. It really does come down to who Albany State has at quarterback. But here's the thing. If you're Benedict, regardless if it's Knowles or another quarterback under center, your front seven has to come ready to play for whoever is going to be under center. So I think that, in regards to that, I do think if Isaiah Knowles does not play, I would give a slight edge to Benedict. But I definitely think if you are Albany State, depending on which quarterback you have, you definitely want to kind of get an establishment to their running game to kind of help potentially neutralize Benedict's pass rush. But I definitely think that if Knowles is not playing, I definitely give an edge to Benedict.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Mike, I'll let you close it out with this matchup.
Man, I mean, AD talking about he leaves meat on the bone. You ain't even leave no gristle. All right. So I echo. There's nothing I can really add other than it starts at the quarterback play, and it boils down to what everybody else said. I will have to say that both teams, I mean, defensive line, I think you can't underestimate defense as well. Even if Benedict's quarter, or if they, if their quarterback comes back, they're gonna be 100%. How good's that offense? How efficient are they gonna be? You still gonna need defense, and that defense travel on the road. I'm gonna take Benedict at home, but I think it'll be a lot closer than people will give this up to. I think both teams will be up to it, but I don't think there's nothing more to say. It depends on who's under center for both teams and how well they play. I will also say how well their rushing attack, because they're both in the league in rushing. If memory serves me correctly, I think Albany State's 237 and Benedict 170, 180. I'm going off memory, so they're both strong rushing, both strong defensive teams. So besides the quarterback, I'm gonna go with defense, but I'm gonna go with Benedict.
Good breakdown. I'm fascinated with this matchup, and Drew said it best. For all those that can not get there to watch this game live, certainly tuning in, and even if you are doing other things at the time, still turning in so it'll be on to get the ratings and the recognition. Next one is matchup. Not sure we'll go take a deep dive in this. We have Bowie State Bulldogs sitting at 2-5, 1-3, and number 3 Virginia Union Panthers 6-1, 4-0. Let me ask it this way: can Bowie State, do they have a chance going on the road to try to win this game?
No.
I was going to say this. Everybody tried. Well, let's move to number 4. I think Drew saw it, obviously, and moved on to help us move through it. This one is maybe a little tricky. Winston-Salem State Rams 4-4, 2-3. At number 4, Johnson C. Smith Golden Bulls 6-1, 3-1. Back in the day, when I say back in the day, just a couple of years ago, this would be a divisional matchup. Rams have kind of played up and down, but they have some talent out there. Anybody see the Rams getting the upset over the Bulls at this time?
It's tough to say because
you gonna try to make a case how it would happen.
Go ahead, Charles. Make this case.
Well, I mean, they can score. Winston-Salem can score football. So that's that at least makes me pause. But knowing Johnson C. Smith has the best defense in the conference, that kind of costs that argument. So
right.
That'd be tough for Winston-Salem.
Exactly.
I'm supposed to go to my not seeing stat. Johnson C. number 4 in points per 100. Winston-Salem number 7 in points per 100. Both of them are positive, which means that both these teams can play. Winston-Salem has a chance. Give it that one metric right there.
Dalen Lee gets hot. Who knows?
That literally. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with 14.7 yards per game or points per game. That's what they're on average. That's what Johnson C. Smith, is allowing.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Defense wins for me.
Defense wins game.
Now, it's definitely Johnson C. Smith's games to lose. So I definitely got Johnson C. Smith winning.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at this next one. Number 6, Fayetteville State Broncos at Shaw Bears. Shaw Bears struggling. Anybody see a reason why Broncos won't get this done? I know it's on the road. Maybe that's what you look at. Cause you a little pause.
Very little.
Yeah. Shaw Bears can't score enough.
Yeah.
Not really. Well, let me sell you on the last one. Number 7, Edward Water Tigers at 7. Clark Atlanta struggling. Do they have one power punch at home to get a major upset against Edward Waters? Can they make at least a statement to make them feel a little bit better about their season?
It is homecoming at Clark Atlanta.
Yeah.
So just the homecoming bump gives Clark Atlanta more than a puncher's chance against Edward Waters, who's coming off of losing 2 in a row. So you have to wonder about their confidence just a little bit. I'm not selling y'all on that just by the facial expression. I'm trying to make conversation, make the podcast interesting.
He can cut that short.
Yeah, he cut that short. No.
They lost the 2 top 5 teams. Sorry. Yeah. Nice try. That was
I have no rat poison for you on that one.
Yeah. Be careful of your press clipping. No,
Well, gentlemen, with that being said, let's call it evening. See if we can get it out there. Great breakdown in terms of the show and what's going on. Really some good football out there. I want to encourage everybody to go check it out, see what they can see in terms of what that looks like as things continue to get going. As I said, Thursday, you'll see us out there getting it done in terms of preparing for the Prairie View homecoming. The RVs will start rolling in Wednesday, certainly in full gear on Thursday. We'll be down there. I'll make sure Mike is acting appropriately in terms of his homecoming. I want to see if he'll still get out and do his Saturday jog. He's done that many years. I let him do that himself. I still exercise every morning, but homecoming is time to kind of take a break.
Run around the yard.
He does a great. He comes back energized and ready. He does a great breakfast, mimosas. So we're looking forward to that. Mike, you continue to do your thing.
Usually doing homecoming, the most running I'm doing is from the bar to the bathroom.
I agree with that wholehearted. Shout out to one Shield. with the group that does that, with Deshaun having the brainchild to kind of bring it together, but a lot of folks on the executive leadership team. And so always excited to acknowledge them and be a part of that. With that being said, thank you for listening to Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Make sure you share our podcast with your friends and colleagues. I am Dr. Kenyatta, Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop, AD Drew, Wilton Jackson II. I want to say appreciate y'all to continue to support and get it done. Again, we want to thank you for coming inside the lab and joining us for your Tuesday week breaking down mid-majors as we do. I want to say we look forward to next Thursday as we jump in here and get in some of those mixes. We'll get back into a couple of mid-major, probably that top matchup. We'll spend a little more time to break that down, but then we have some major division games that we certainly have to break down. So we'll let you know what that looks like, these gentlemen's thoughts in terms of as it gets going, where we're going with that. As we like to say, follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Threads, Facebook, and Instagram. That's DrKenyattaCavil, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Facebook, Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube. Dream big, continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles?
Of course.
Mike?
Lecture.
Wilton? And Drew?
Dismiss.
Oh, that's pretty good. They back on it. All right, okay.
I like the mutual salute. That's pretty good. I like it.
Nice.